New Artist Spotlight Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the New Artist Spotlight Podcast. I'm your host, Big OG, you know me, Origin Cross, joined today by...
I am another host, Wilko Wilkes, and yes, I'm also just delighted to be here and to speak to this guy for the second time. I think it's about 6 a.m. over where he is. We've got three people here in different corners of the world. Welcome to the show, Gavan Waldby. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, g'day, guys. I'm going well. How are you? Good morning from Brisbane.
Yeah,
It's a decent day over here.
Not
Sorry,
too
what's
much
that?
as well, you know. Finally, I've got a bit of sunburn. I don't know if you can see, but
Sunburn?
Oh, wow, there's actually sun in the UK? What is happening? It's global warming.
I don't know. Yeah, first day for about 6 months it was sunny, and I managed to get burnt. Things about well, let's not go into the weather. Let's talk about Gavin. So, tell us about yourself and what you've been up to since the last time you've been on here.
Yeah, well, it's about 2.5 years since we last chatted, I think. So, what have I been doing? Pretty much the same stuff, I guess. Working on my songwriting, working on my production, trying to get better at all those things, trying to write better songs and trying to produce better songs, and just having a lot of fun doing it. I'm up to number 12. I think that I've just the song that's just about to be released, which is not as productive as I would like to be, but I'm very time poor, so I'm kind of slow getting songs out, sadly.
It happens to a lot of us. I mean, until we can make this the thing that we primarily do, it's a struggle. But I mean, I feel like it's the passion that keeps us going, right?
Absolutely. It's so much fun. And I just keep doing it because it's fun, and then hope for a little bit more on top of that if I can.
Yeah. So today, right? What aspect of it are you enjoying the most?
I still like the songwriting the most. That's and recording in the studio and trying to get the best value out of a song. What I've been doing, I spent a fair amount of last year doing a bit of a deep dive into sync licensing, actually, which is oddly enough, one of the reasons why I haven't been very productive, because I've been trying to learn a lot about the way sync works. It's a bit of a, how would you describe it? It's a funny niche kind of market, and it's hard to understand. So I actually spent a lot of last year trying to understand and find out how that works, to see if it was going to work for me or not. So that's probably what I did mostly last year, in between writing songs and recording songs.
Did you manage to get any syncs or any advice that you could share with us?
I've been signed on one song, which is nice, but getting signed is only step number one. Haven't had any placements, which is, that's when things start to make the difference. It's a very weird thing. Because as I just said, you get bits of information. One of the things I came across on YouTube, somebody said you need two things. He said you need the right songs and you need the right intel. Okay, well, that sounds great, but what does that mean? What does that mean? And I kept looking. I ended up finding a professional industry-based Facebook group, which was based in Nashville in the United States. And I joined that group for about, 4 months, something like that. So it wasn't free. You actually had to subscribe to it. It was run by a couple of Nashville musicians that specialize in sync. So that was really useful in terms of learning how things work. But it was also, the strangest part about it is that the whole industry seems to be very, it's kind of a servitude thing. What I mean by that is with this particular group, what they would do is they'd have a monthly meeting with all these industry professionals, like a music supervisor or somebody that managed a music library or something like that. And the 4 weeks leading up to that meeting with the industry professional, you'd be given a brief to write a song about, like a 80s pop song or a Americana song or a hip hop song or something like that, with this subject matter or something like that. So they'd actually spend 3 weeks. There was about 70 or 80 people in the group. They'd spend about 3 weeks composing their songs, producing their songs, and submitting demos to the people that hosted the group, and they'd give them feedback. Oh, that's good, that's bad. You need to change this. You need to change that. And that was really, really interesting experience watching what other people did and how their songs evolved. And eventually, in the final week of the month, they get everybody to submit their finished product. Then they'd pick 20, I think, the top 20 out of 70 or 80 submissions, and that's what they would then present to the industry professional that we had the meeting with at the end of the month. And then the industry professional, whoever that was, would go through the songs. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, I like that. That's really good. You need to change this and all that sort of stuff. And some people got success that way, which is fine. But some of them got signed, and some of them I imagine ended up getting placed. But it's very much a case of, here is my song, if it please you. You know what I mean? So you're spending all your time writing, producing, and recording the best effort you can make to fit the brief that they've specified. But out of all those attempts, only some people were successful. Only some people got signed, and only some people got placements. So all the other people, they'd have their song sitting there, which went nowhere. I mean, it's still part of your catalogue, which you can always refer to again. But it's really competitive. You can spend a lot of time and a lot of energy not getting any direct results in terms of getting signed or getting any upfront fees or getting any royalties. And that's what I found the hardest part about it, other than the time zone, because I could never make the meetings because it was like 2:00 in the morning here all the time. So I'd catch up on the recordings later. But that's what struck me, is that everybody seemed very happy to be working on spec all the time. You know, I'll write this song on spec, I'll write this one on spec, and I'll write that one on spec. And some people would get some success out of it. But I just found it very odd. There were that many people that keen to just keep working on spec constantly. And I'm going, well, how are you going to make a living out of that? How are you going to make an income out of that? You might make some money, you might not, but it's a very long-term thing. Anybody that wants to get into sync, you could spend years spinning your wheels before anything happens, I think. So I ended up leaving the group because it just wasn't working for me. But oddly enough, in a very twisted way, that's how I ended up writing the song that we're talking about today. So I did get some positive results in the end, I suppose you could say.
Well, that's good. I mean, and then that's an experience that I guess, or I bet a lot of artists don't have, right? I mean, I think sync licensing is a topic that not all of us are aware of, right? And so making the investment in learning that world, right, and then being involved in seeing what it takes and what the inner workings of getting that placement, right, I feel like that's invaluable experience, right? Because I know you said sometimes, I mean, you could make money or you could not, right? But if you don't know what you're doing at all, I mean, chances of could not is so much higher, right? I mean,
well, yeah, look, it's absolutely true. You've got to. The way it works is you when you submit your song, you've got to provide every minute of detail, your PRO details, your IPI details, your ISRC details, who the composers are, who wrote the lyrics, who's got the splits, all that sort of stuff. You've got to, everything that you present, because it's such a fast-paced industry. Some things, some people clear licenses. Excuse me, have to clear a license in half a day or something like that, or 1 day or two-day turnaround or something like that. So whatever you present, there cannot be any details missing, because if there's details missing, they don't have time for, say, can you go back and change this and change that and come back to us in within the next 2 hours, please, because it can be fine lines like that. So you've got to present the right song. And you've got to have all your house in order, with all the important details about the song as well. If you don't present like that in the first place, they'll just walk away and leave you behind because they don't have time to give you feedback. I mean, and this is what it comes down to. It's very fast-paced. Things need to get cleared very quickly. And if you don't present everything absolutely perfectly, they'll just leave you alone and pass you over and go to the next most likely candidate because they don't have time to ask you to go back and change something. So, yeah, it's tricky. It's very tricky.
Well, you've also got a lot of like professional musicians going in for it, haven't you? Like I know I've listened to Justin Hawkins from The Darkness talking about this before, where he does a lot of the sync licensing stuff and he just has to write a starter or a chorus or a couple of lines or whatever. And he's going into these writing workshops with writers of big acts. So yeah, I think it's a good point that you've made about it being a very competitive world. So I think it's.
Oh, look. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Look, you got Berkeley.
It's easy as an indie artist to think that, you can just send some emails and that's it. You're going to get that song on the BBC or whatever. It's a lot more.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way. Look at you're competing against Berkeley graduates and all sorts of people that are really, 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 they've got the whole package. They can sing, they can write, they can produce, they can do everything themselves, and they can do it quickly as well. But no, you're right that you don't. It's not like, oh, I've just sent my email to a music supervisor and I'm sure I'm going to, be in a feature film in the next 6 months. They don't accept, and this is part of they don't accept submissions from the general public. It's kind of funneled through their filters. And this is one of the other peculiarities about it. Like you'll see a music library or a music supervisor saying, oh, we don't accept submissions. You've got to be on our roster. Musicians have to be on our roster. And you go, oh, okay, well, that's good. But what does that actually mean, being on a roster? Well, I found out that one too, because through the same industry group, Facebook industry group that I was involved with, there was a startup music library that got involved, and they said, "Oh, we're taking submissions for people to join our roster. So submit your music, and we'll get back to you if we're interested." Oh, okay. So I sent them a couple of songs, and they came back and said, "Oh yeah, really good. Like the way you compose, like the way you write. You are now on our roster." I go, "Okay, that's great. What does that mean? Now what do I do?" So what that means
to the next roster.
Yeah.
So Gavin, just to you touched on it about this how it's led you to make this moment last. So I want to talk a little bit about that because I think that's really good that you, even if like just going through that process is a valuable exercise because you never know what creativity might come out of it. So we are going to give a spin to make this moment last. So I want you to have the chance to tell us a bit about that song as well.
Yeah, sure. Well, I decided there was one scenario that I was presented with, which is to write something for a film or a TV show. So the impetus behind the song was you've been watching a movie or a TV show when a couple spend their first night together. Okay, they've woken up the next day, and it's a question of, well, what's going to happen now? Is this going to be a one night? Is this going to be 1 month? Is this going to be 1 year? Or is this going to be forever? And that was the kind of the scenario that I was writing for. So I had this really cool acoustic guitar lick that I'd had for about 6 months, and I'm going, I've got to do something with that. I've got to do something with that because it's very hooky. It's quite Paul Simon-ish in a way. So I had that hook, and I had this idea. Okay, so a couple spends their first night together. What happens next? So that was the original idea for the song, and that's the result of that was Make This Moment Last, which I spent a lot of time writing, and I spent a lot of time rewriting. I rewrote the lyrics so many times in this song. It was just insane because I wasn't happy with them. I kept going back to it. I kept going back to it. And I was finally happy with the song. So I went to my studio here in Brisbane, Crxss Studios, and I put down one acoustic guitar and the vocals. I had a lead vocal and some harmonies, and I did all that. And I was really happy with that. And when it came to a point of, okay, what am I going to do next with this song? What do I want to do with it? And I kept coming up with absolutely nothing. I couldn't. I had the basics, I had the song, I had the guitar part. What am I going to do with it? and I wasn't hearing it in my head. And that's quite unusual for me. And this went on for weeks, really. I wasn't hearing it in my head. And I still wasn't hearing it in my head because I had to give the guys that I normally work with, I have to give them some direction. You know, I want strings, I want whatever. And I kept coming up with nothing. I just didn't have a clear musical vision for the song. And I went, well, this is probably means that it's time to collaborate with somebody, because if you're coming up with nothing, it's time to reach out and see if you can get some help. So I thought, yeah, I think it's time to see if I can get somebody else to produce this and see what happens. So it wasn't a hard choice to make. I reached out to Mr. Charles Connolly. Surprise, surprise, and we had a chat about it. And he said, "Yeah, sure. Send me what you've got," and it all grew from there. So Charles produced the rest of the song, did a really good job, and most importantly, as I said to him, he came up with a whole bunch of stuff that I would not have thought of myself, because I wasn't hearing it, I wasn't going anywhere with it, and he heard it, and he's got that musical imagination that sits exactly in the right place, and he got the best value out of it. He found the gold in the song with the way he produced it, and it came out really, really well. I'm absolutely ecstatic with the way it sounds now. So kudos to Charles, fantastic job. Couldn't be happier.
Well, it's a journey, right? And getting to this point of the song, right? It sounds like there was an inspiration, an idea, a roadblock, a pivot, and then a collaboration, all to get you to this point. And so I don't see why we wait from here. Please do the honors of introducing the song. Let's give it a play.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, mate. So this is song's called Make This Moment Last. It's a happily ever after song. I hope you like it.
The day is breaking, my heart is waking, and you are by my side. Our night together won't mean forever, but I'm wondering if it might. May all your cares just float away if you stay here with me all day. This way, this way. And if the day turns into a week, and the week turns into a year, as one, you and I are here to make this moment last. So make this moment last. I don't know if I have the words when you look into my eyes, but when you walk into the room, then I just feel so alive. Your smile lights my day, you just have that way. It's a spark in my heart, I just want you to stay. This way, this way. And if the day turns into a week, and the week turns into a year, as one, you and I are here to make this moment last. So make this moment last. moment last. We made that moment last. We made that moment last. We made that moment last.
Gavin, thank you for letting us play that here on the show. And you sent the video along with it, right? Andres did a great job making sure that was incorporated. So please tell us a little bit about how the video came to be. How did you how did you get that put together?
Well, once again, I had no vision at all. So I went to my sound engineer here in Brisbane, Castro Rassler. He also does videos for his own stuff. And I said, can you come up with something? Because I got nothing. I got no skills when it comes to making videos. When it comes to producing videos, I'm a really good guitar player. So he came up with the idea of he came up with this collage. And again, with a really nice ending, which I thought really tells the story. So it's a happily ever after song. It's got a really positive vibe to it. The video portrays that. It's a very inclusive video. He only finished it yesterday, actually, so it was kind of a bit of a rush to get it ready for today. But yeah, I hope it tells a story, and I hope it portrays the sentiment of the song, and I think it does.
Was that stock footage, or was it specially shot for the song?
No, well, it's stock footage. It's Adobe stock. Bizarrely, I'm a UQ staff associate as part of my day job. UQ being the University of Queensland here in Brisbane, and I actually get a free Adobe license as part of the gig. So we used all that Adobe stock that I'm actually allowed to license, and put it all together from that. But it actually took him a long time, because you got to piece it together, you got to time it, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Because you got to tell the story, and this song has a very strong story, which is what I really like about it. Excuse me. So yeah, but it's a big, and what Origin said before, when you reach out and collaborate with, what 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 2, 4 heads are better than 3. Sometimes you get different people with different ideas and different perspectives. And I am learning that that's sometimes the best way to go to get the best result, as opposed to trying to DIY everything myself.
Yeah, it's good to learn. I think it's good to learn it all. And like you're saying, sometimes you can't be as productive when you're learning all the time. But these experiences stand you in good stead. And I think the more you can learn yourself, that gives you the knowledge to know when to hand it over, and to kind of piece it together as best you can before just sending it to someone else for those finishing touches, which is a good thing. I think you can mold it in more in your vision. And it's interesting seeing your vision develop, man. It's been good. You've been quite consistent with your releases. Like I say, they're not every month, are they? But that's unsustainable for most of us, I think. I was just getting a little bit of a strange feeling, actually, hanging in the air. Sounds a bit... I don't know what it is, but it feels like my heart's pumping out of my chest. Can you feel that?
Oh, there's an ominous sensation in the room. Yeah.
It's not going to be a chalk and cheese reunion, is it?
Sadly, no. Hey, listen, just quickly. I got all dressed up for you guys today. You didn't say anything.
Well, you're looking good, mate. Yeah, you're off to work.
Can't want to stop the profiling. I like it.
No, how's this for weird? I'm off to the Supreme Court in about 2 hours.
Oh, good luck, mate. I hope they don't send you down.
Yeah, I got arrested for loitering in front of a song. No, actually, my daughter is being admitted as a lawyer today, so awesome. We're off. Nice one. Very proud moment for we parents. So yeah, we're off to the Supreme Court in about 2 hours to see her get admitted as a lawyer. So that's actually the real reason I'm all dressed up.
Congratulations to her, mate, and to all the family.
Anyway, this horrible mood, mate. What's going to happen?
Horrible feeling.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bright spot there for a second, though. with the news. But yeah, I think it was quickly passing because I think it's been a while, but it feels familiar. Kind of feels like it's gonna be quick. Maybe there's some fire. But yeah, it's always fire. It's always fire. I think I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the NAS Quickfire 5.
I think that's what it
Okay.
is. So you got 15 seconds, no more, or you will be
I'm
banned.
shaking. I'm shaking.
You'll be sent to an uninhabited.
Back to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. So
Okay, let's do it.
you've been here before. You know how it goes. That means we have to ask you 5 questions that we don't usually ask, because especially after you've been on here before, you kind of get the vibe. So I'm gonna let Wilko start it off, but we gotta go somewhere new, somewhere fresh, somewhere horrifying.
Where no man has been before.
Absolutely.
I can do that. Question 1: what is the worst song that you've ever written?
Oh God, the first song I ever wrote. It was called, I think it started with to write a song that says everything. Does it mean that much? Or something like that. It was, I would have been about 16 years old, I think, and it was just awful. So yeah, that's not a hard one to answer.
All right, question number 2. If you had to have the musical journey of any other artist that did make it big, whose story would you pick?
Oh God, Paul McCartney. That's an easy one to answer. I've so much admiration for that man. He's amazing.
Question 3: if you could see any band or artist live, alive or dead, from all time, who would you see? In fact, pick your 3 main headliners at your festival. You've still only got 15 seconds.
Alive or dead that I could see. I'd love to see Beethoven. I would have loved to see him playing the piano. I'd probably go Mozart after that. After that, I would have loved to have seen Leonard Cohen singing Hallelujah live.
I like that. Yep, Beethoven, Mozart, and Leonard Cohen. Pretty mad festival, but I'm here for it.
It would be interesting.
Question number 4. If you could see one place in the world that you haven't already, where would you go?
Where would I go? Oh God. I'd like to go off-roading in the States, like the Grand Canyon or somewhere around there. I do a lot of 4-wheel driving, so I'm always looking for exotic destinations.
Nice. And finally, question 5 is: if you had to spend 2 weeks in a tent with somebody from New Artist Spotlight, who would you choose?
2 weeks in a tent. Oh my God, that's tricky. 2 weeks in a tent. Well, I mean, I've worked with Charles, so that's been a buzz. Probably the next one that comes to mind, who I admire enormously, is Andres Guazzelli, because of his ability to orchestrate stuff. I'd love to pick his brain about how he does that, because some of the like symphonic orchestrations that he does is just like, my God, how do you actually do that? So 2 weeks should be useful. Andreas is very, very knowledgeable about Australian music as well. We've had some very interesting chats about Australian music. He's remarkably knowledgeable about Australia for an Argentinian.
I'm afraid that last answer was more than 15 seconds.
See, you got me monologuing.
We'll have to cut out all the praise for Andres.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You know what? But you hear that, Andres? He said he wants to strand you in a tent for 2 weeks. That's how much he cares about you. Suffer 2 weeks in a tent.
He's not getting out. That's well done, man. You not well done, because you are now being sent to an uninhabitable planet. So unfortunately,
You may have been twice. We got to run back the clock on one of those answers, but I was, we'll see. We'll catch it in the edit.
One strike is enough.
I'll make an appeal to the Supreme Court judge this morning to see if I can get let off.
Hopefully your daughter's a great lawyer.
You'll need it, yeah. So yeah, good to have you on again, man. Obviously, you've got important stuff to get to. Do you have any sort of final messages for everybody listening?
Please play my new song. Would be really nice. If you want to learn more about what I'm doing, gavanwaldbymusic.com. Everything is on there, including my new song.
Yeah, and don't do the crime if you don't want to do the time.
Exactly. I'm going to be a law-abiding citizen from today onwards.
Y'all got to start sometimes. It's unfortunate, but it's just a part of growing up.
We'll believe it when we see it. You've got to be on your best behaviour now. Indeed.
My daughter's given us some very specific instructions. Not allowed to take photos, not allowed to yell, clap, or anything.
Not allowed to illegally license stock material for videos.
Yep, exactly.
Well, no, we want to thank you for coming on the show today, spending some time with us, letting us hear some new music. It's been a really good chat, really good time having you on.
Yeah, thanks, Origin. Thanks, Wilko. It's been good fun.
Thank you, mate. And thank you to everybody who's been listening, everybody who's supporting, chipping in, being part of New Artist Spotlight and this amazing movement that is helping independent artists around the globe, as we've proved today.
We're very privileged to be part of this group. It's a one-of opportunity.
3 time zones coming together to make it work. That's the power of New Artist Spotlight.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Peace out.
New Artist Spotlight Podcast.